Amazing. And I think, looking at your background also, you're into, helping people understand, this process of, starting, educating themselves, right? So what do you feel, how much importance is, being aware and also educating yourself, to start? Because see, because, Indians, we have a lot of good qualities. So I'm not going to say we have a lot of bad qualities, but one of our qualities that, pull us back is fear, that if I put money in the market, मेरा पैसा डूबने वाला है. That is the thought process, and unfortunately, we kind of, and it's a myth. It's a myth today, right? So, how important do you think is education? So that people understand that okay, it is not always that when you put money, that your money is going to go down. It is when you put money only then you will kind of have a big corpus, or you will start making money for your own self.
Yeah, so Karthik, you have asked a wonderful question, and to be honest, there are two parts of this question. The number one is fear, and the second part is the education part. See, the reason behind fear in the minds of Indian is because back in 1990s and late 80s, when the market just started, the market was highly inefficient. Like we all know what happened during the Harshad Mehta period. The market manipulation was so easy at that point of time. So our parents, our grandparents, so they were all worried about their savings, and they were absolutely right because they were middle class people. They wanted to invest something in some safe haven asset. So at that point of time, late 80s and early 90s, the market was not the place to be until and unless you had a huge sum of savings. So in today's time, the market manipulation is almost impossible. Nobody can manipulate market that easily, not even a institutional investors. So the fear gets reduced once you understand that SEBI is there. That SEBI is regulating the market like anything. Like RBI is there for banks, for insurance policy we have our IRDAI, and for markets we have SEBI. So the
Correct.
number one thing retail investor need to understand is that SEBI is there to protect you. And the second thing is education. There are a lot of free resources on the internet. You can educate yourself for free. There are a lot of platforms like our platform. Even on LinkedIn, you will find a lot of personalities teaching on the same topics. So the fear today is irrational in my opinion, especially in the minds of Gen Z. They think that bank FDs are going to give you a lot of return. Like if we talk about today's return, bank FD का आज का return देखें, it is somewhere around 6 to 7%, which is quite good if you talk about inflation and risk. And the markets are in a bear territory if we talk about. But over the long run, bank FDs are not the place to be in. Market is the place to be. Over the long run, Gen Zs are better suited for stock market. So these are the two things that you need to understand. But the one is the fear is irrational. Second, educate yourself.
Amazing.
So these are
So I think so what you and that when I say you, you means your company, and even Bullsmart is trying to do is educate people first, right? And like you said, there are loads of such organizations or platforms where you can go and learn. So I think the viewers have to understand that they need to put fear on the back seat and put their investment on the front seat. I think that should be the message that we should be able to pass to the viewers through this
yes.
session. But I'm going to go one step forward, Piyush, and I'm going to say, like you said, SEBI is there to govern each and every AMC. Let it be an AMC on the mutual fund front, or even any companies when it comes to
Yeah.
stock market, right? So SEBI is quite strong in that. But don't you think, like in terms of FDs, right? You mentioned, back in the 80s, 90s, the FD return rates were 16%,
Yeah.
18%, right? Today, like you mentioned, it's 6 to 7%. I feel, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I feel you need to also invest in an FD so that you have some emergency fund. But
Yes.
your first step should be towards investing into, let's say, the stock market or a mutual fund. Don't you think that?
Yes, if we talk about the broader personal finance sense, then FDs does play a role in in the personal finance field because we all know what happened 3 years back, the COVID-19. The entire economy got shut down, people lost their jobs, even business person lost their businesses. So in those period of time, bank FDs are there to save you. So if you don't have a maybe say let's say 6 to 7 months of savings in bank FD, then you should not be thinking about investing much in the market. So bank FDs do play a role, but without stock market investing, you are not going to create wealth. Bank FDs are there to save you. They will not उसके जैसा आप उड़ने नहीं वाले. They won't be able to make you wealthy. They are there to save you in the bad times, and the market is there to make you fly in the market. So these are the things you need to understand.
So I'm gonna use a line which I've heard from a very special friend of mine. He used to tell me that if you want to sit with the ducks, don't think of flying with the eagles. Okay, and if you want to fly with the eagles, don't look at what the ducks are doing.
That's our do.
And I think that is very important, right? So that mindset is very important. So I think we are quite clear that you don't need a lot of money to start investing. You need to invest what you have, whatever small amount you have, start making money through it, and then keep on investing over a period of time. So that is point number one that we've taken care of. Now let's move on to point number two, which is a very big market in India, which is credit cards. Okay, so do you think credit cards are bad in the first place? Because what I have read, right? So we in this age, right, we follow a lot of these financial influencers, right? And this one guy on LinkedIn, I saw his post. He said that if you have 20,000 rupees, okay, with you,
Highlighted.
and if you have a credit card, right, use the credit card and pay that money after 28 days. And a lot of people went against that who is he to tell or give this kind of information and this. But do you really think credit cards are bad?
See, credit cards are not bad. First, I would say this, and then I would say they are bad. It all depends on the person using it.
Correct.
See, you can use a knife to chop your vegetables, or you can use your knife to kill someone. So it all depends on the person to person, how you use them. And the post that you talked about went viral on Twitter as well. I am on Twitter too. So I saw the post, and the post was absolutely nuts. Completely wrong advice from such a famous financial influencer. Completely wrong advice. So I would suggest everyone to look at both the pros and cons of credit cards. I would say pros are there, but cons are also there. So you need to understand that credit cards do provide you easy access to credit first. See, if you don't have much money in the bank account and you want to make an emergency purchase, so in those period of time, credit cards
Situations.
will save you. So you need to understand the pros are there, but cons are also there.
So, do you think, Piyush, then will it be right to say that credit cards should be used wisely, in a manner where you should be confident enough as a user that at the end of the month, when the bill comes to you, right, you should be in a position to pay it off, and you should not misuse the credit card. So I think would that be a right sentence to give out there?
Yeah, so as we are talking about Gen Zs here, right? Like I have seen a lot of Gen Zs and a lot of people in their early 20s and even late 30s. They use credit cards for useless purchases. Like even
Yeah.
if they don't need a particular, let's say a new iPhone, they purchase a lot of dumb stuff through their credit cards. So that is the first thing. To use credit cards wisely, you need to understand why do you need them in the first place. You need them in a time of emergency. Like I don't personally use a credit card, but I do know a lot of people who are in debt trap, literally debt trap. So if you don't use them wisely, you can drown in debt. So especially Gen Z people, they are influenced by TikTok, they are influenced by YouTube personalities, and a lot of wrong advice is there on LinkedIn as well, such a professional platform. So you need to think for yourself. You need to understand the why you are using the credit card, and
Correct.
and how much to use it. Like there's a limit
Correct.
how much you can avail in credit.
Correct. True. And I think that's a very right point that you just mentioned that Gen Zs today, they are like, and because of the buying power, like because they are starting to earn at a very early age and they know that they are going to get a salary, at the end of the month, they are like, let me have fun. I think a very important word that these Gen Zs use is YOLO. That is, you only live
You only
once.
live once.
So, so they say that okay, I'm gonna only live once, so let me enjoy whatever I have and kind of spend it. So no one is saying do not spend through credit card. What Piyush is trying to say here is that to the viewers is that understand that why you want to spend it and have confidence that you will be able to give that money back when the
Yes.
bill comes to you at the end of the month,
Yes,
right?
and Karthik,
So
sorry to interrupt, but I would
go
like to
on,
add
please.
one more point on it. Like as you mentioned, YOLO, you only live once. Like Gen Z spend also in FOMO, fear of missing out. Like I
Correct.
have seen it in market as well. Even in professional setting, even in professional fund managers, they buy stuff based on fear of missing out. Everybody else is making money. I am missing out on the making money, so I am going to invest, regardless of the market condition, regardless of the fundamental. So same happens in personal finance as well. So, like we have a peer group. We have a peer group around us, our friends, families, and all the cousins and all. So if we see someone else buying his XYZ thing, or so we thought, boss, chalo le hi lete hain. We are missing out on enjoyment. So let's buy it. So this is something that YOLO and FOMO. Avoid both of it.
Both of them, true. And I'm going to give you and the viewers a very good example because it just came to my mind. So at Bullsmart, we do a lot of offline events. Sorry, right? When we go to these offline events, we usually go to colleges, and the age group is between 18 to 22, 23. And we usually ask them that how many people in, let's say if it's a class of 100 people, how many people invest in crypto, right? And there will be 80 hands who would either know about crypto or have either invested on crypto just because my friend has told me. And
Yeah.
then we ask a question which says that how many of you invest in mutual funds or in stock market? And there are only 10 or 20 people, right? So that is what it is. FOMO, what you mentioned
Yeah.
about that, I don't want to miss out on what my friend is doing. So guys, please do not go on that advice. See what suits you, what suits your risk appetite, and then use either a credit card or, like we mentioned in the first go, even investing in a mutual fund or a stock market. So moving on, Piyush, this is a very important next point, okay, because it's very close to me because I am basically from Pune, and I am today paying a rent in Bangalore which is huge. Let me
Yep.
just throw out a figure out there. I stay in HSR, and I saw a data on LinkedIn very recently which said that HSR is an area which is the maximum in terms of its increase of renting places, or in terms of increasing their rents. It was an average of 39%, which means the rents have gone up by 39% in HSR alone, right? So I pay 30,000 rupees today as rent, and it's staggering amount of money that I am paying as rent.
It's
But
so
do you
high.
think paying rent is throwing money away?
Not at all. Like a Gen Z is not going to live on streets, right? A Gen Z cannot afford a home at this point. Like I live in Delhi NCR, the property prices here are skyrocketing. Like even if you go out there and check the price of a 2 BHK in a good locality, you won't find something below 1 crore. And obviously, someone who has just started earning and someone who is just starting out with his career, with his or her career, they are not going to go out there and buy a 1 crore flat. So obviously, they have to rent a place if they are not living with their parents. Like as in India, we usually live with our parents. But if you are not living with your parents, you are in Bangalore or some other metropolitan area for work or job or even for entrepreneurship. So you do have to rent a place. You are not going to live under a highway. You live under a bridge. So obviously you do need to pay the rent, and the rentals are increasing day by day. Even
Yeah.
in Delhi NCR, not just in Bangalore.
True, very true. But Piyush, what are the tax benefits? Because see, people out there are not able to understand. People saying, "Oh my, I'm just paying a lot of rent. Is it worth it?" So, can you tell us what are the tax benefits when it comes to paying rent?
See, like you are not going to save taxes just for the sake of saving a few dollars, a few thousands of rupees. Like it's like saying getting into an accident to use your health insurance. So you need to understand what's more important: to live in a better place or to save a few bucks in taxes. So if you are a Gen Z, your focus should be on maximizing your earning potential, not on saving taxes at this point of time, in my opinion. Now, saving taxes is an important metric of personal finance, and we do need to take a look at saving taxes, not evading taxes. That is a different point. That is illegal, and saving taxes should not be the sole criteria of an Gen Z, in my opinion. If you are living in a metropolitan area, as you said, you are living in Bangalore, and you are paying around 30,000 rupees a month. So obviously, you do need to maintain that living standard. So my advice for all the Gen Zs are to focus on what's important. Maximize your earning potential, earn more, save more, and think about taxes later.